Hello, electronic students. Today we're actually going to start on the AM radio. So there was a couple of different ways I could do this. And so one of the ways was I could just literally send these boxes home with you and get in touch with you once a week to see how far you are on it, because the book that comes with it walks it through with you step by step. The other way I could do it is I could actually physically solder in every single component and we could do it step by step together. I thought that might be a little bit tedious, and we probably wouldn't be able to problem solve as much as I would like you to on this project, since I don't do it that way when we're in class. And so I'm trying to strike a balance here between those two, between me doing a little bit of it to get you started and really having you do the work yourself. And so what I'm going to try to do today is get you started on this and point out the mistakes that are often made, and please try to listen when I point out those mistakes so you don't make them, because it's going to be harder for you to fix mistakes at home by yourself than without me there to give you some guidance. So if you start, we had the book here, that was on top, and then we have all the pieces in the box. And so make sure that when you take parts out of the little plastic bags, that we're not just putting them on the table so that they can get spilled on the floor in your house and lost. Granted, we're probably able to get most of these parts through DigiKey, but I really don't want to have to deal with that. I want you to use the parts that are in the kit. Let's just start with looking at the book here. This is really going to be your guide for walking through this thing step by step, okay? So the first page here is one that outlines the whole material list for all the parts that are in the kit. And so, for instance, one of the parts that we're going to solder in today is a resistor, and it'll tell me the resistor number, and I'm just going to look it up here quick so we can use it as an example. The resistor number that we're going to solder in today is R14, okay, and it says R14 here, and it says 47 kilo ohm resistor, yellow, violet, orange, gold. It even gives you the color code on that. That's pretty nice. Well, if I look over here at this, I'm looking for R14. There it is, R14 right there. It says it's 47 kilo ohms, and it says it's yellow, violet, orange, gold, just like what it said over there in the description. So when in doubt of what the parts are, come to this page and look and see what the parts actually are. Most of this should be review for a lot of you, as far as the actual parts go. But here is some identification of some of the parts. I turn the page, it talks about identifying resistors. We went over that on Tuesday. It talks about identifying capacitors. I'll talk about that in a little bit here when we get to the actual soldering part. That should be review for you also. The next page talks about soldering stuff in. We're going to go over that together, and then it also talks about using the multimeter, which all of you have already used. Okay, so section 1 here, this is where we're going to start. Now, I'm going to go through and I'm going to maybe do 2 parts on this section 1 for you. I'll make this a little bit easier for you. Dina Hulse is my camera person here, and she's been doing a great job this week. I want to just take note of a couple things that I put stars by here. You're going to be installing transistors, okay, and you're going to be installing 4 of them in this board. Well, the transistors are all located in this little tiny plastic bag right here, and so I'm going to dump them out quick. And there's a total of what is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 transistors for this project. Well, in this part alone, you're using 4 of them. Now, the thing that I want you to note here is that all 4 of these resistors are different. So, like this one here, I don't know if you can read that, Dina, or not, but says 3904 NPN transistor. This one over here says a 3906 PNP transistor. This one says an MPS 8050 transistor, and this one down here says an MPS 8550. Now, the only way that you're going to be able to tell that difference on the transistor, and we can maybe try to read these up, but I don't know if you can, is to actually look at the numbers on there. And so, like looking at this one is a 3904 transistor, if you read on the flat part. Okay? That one's only going to work in this one spot. What happens if I put a 3904 transistor in a 3906? Your project isn't going to function. So you need to make sure that you're looking at these components and soldering them in. It's not a race to solder in parts as fast as you can. I can't stress that enough. The whole point of this is to put the right parts in the right place and also put them in correctly. Okay, so like for instance, this Q4 3904 transistor, well, looking at the board, and it even points to where it goes right here. Where's Q4 at on this thing? Q4 is going to be right. Q4 is going to be right there. Okay, so there's Q4. I can see it right there. And then it has a symbol for a transistor. It even has the rounded part and the flat part right here. And so when I put this transistor in, I want to make sure that I put the leads in the correct spot. So the E goes here, the C goes here, and the B goes here. Notice I have the flat part here and the flat part of the transistor facing the same way. If I put it in backwards, it's not going to function correctly. Okay, so this is just one example. Now if I put that Q4 into the Q5, then we've got a problem. Now we have to start taking components out and resoldering them, and it's just a whole lot easier if we don't have to do that. Okay, so let's take